Welcome back, everyone, to the Profluence Pod. This is Andrew Petcash with Scott Garber. Excited to go to the golf industry today with Nick from Swag Golf. So, Nick, appreciate you hopping on today, and it's been long overdue for a golf one. So excited to get you in as the real pro lane starts to slow down a bit. Make sure we keep the wheels spinning over here on the golf side.
Great, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, go ahead, introduce yourself, who you are, what you're building, and we'll unpack it all.
I'm Nick Venson, the CEO of Swag Golf. Started this brand a little over 7 years ago now. We are, in the space of high-end putters and head covers, accessories. Been a passion project of mine since I started it. It's something that, I have almost 15 years prior to that in the golf space to prepare myself to make a new brand. And, we're looking forward to bringing great products to a whole bunch of new golfers.
Cool, man. Super cool. Well, Nick, let me go ahead. Let's just dive in. For everyone listening, what is Swag Golf? I know you guys are on the putter, the head cover side, but give us the deeper inspiration 7 years ago when you were, getting ready to hop into this space. Where did the idea come from?
Yeah, I spent, like I said, almost 15 years in the industry prior to starting Swag, and during that time, I was fortunate to work with some of the best putter makers in the country. Was able to represent Scotty Cameron, Bentonardi. These guys are, the best at what they do. But I came from just a different perspective, I think, than both of them. Being a younger golfer, growing up in the Tiger era, wanting to see kind of some fun, cool, different things on the golf course. Back, talk 1999, 2000, golf was, it was pretty mundane. Everybody kind of had the same shafts, the same clubs. Everybody was using the same golf balls. The clothing style was pretty even keeled across the board. And then every once in a while, you get a little splash of color with somebody using one of these Pro 465 shafts, these yellow and purple shafts, the first bright shafts came in the market. And I think from that day, I was inspired to always have something different than my buddies had. So I was the one kind of goofing around with new equipment, finding something different and wanting to bring that to forefront of what I did when I started Swag. I wanted to make something that someone has that's different, cool in their bag. They walk up to their buddies, foursome, and they're like, man, what's that? That's amazing.
Nick, and I'm curious on, where you begin. So maybe you make a few covers or do some cool stuff for friends and yourself. When were you like, all right, this is a real business. We can really take this thing to the next level. How did you approach that? Where do you even start we get a lot of founders or early stage ones that listen that are always looking for when to make that jump or how to do it.
Yeah. The truth is, the kind of the origin story of Swag is that a lot of the ideas that I launched the brand with were ideas that I had for the previous 5 or 7 years. It was things that kind of other people in the golf space were like, that's too bold, that's too crazy. We don't see a market for that. But in the back of my head, I'm going, this is really cool. This is different. I don't know why somebody would like it. I like it. I should roll with this. And a really good friend of mine and my partner, Scott, who said, hey, Nick, we've been buddies for 37 years. We need to start this business. You need to start this business. You have such a good experience. You know everything. You have an eye for it. And he really pushed me to kind of do that first round of reaching out to friends and family and saying, I'm going to start this company, Swag Golf. Here's the idea, guys. Don't give a putt. New brand, bold, crazy. What do you guys think? And fortunately enough, people listened, and that's how I started the business.
Let me ask you this, right? Obviously, golf is having its day right now. As coming out of COVID, there's a ton of attention. The game is growing maybe faster than ever and more diverse than ever. But 7 years ago, when you came into the market, were you met with resistance from the traditional golf world, or what was that like when you bring a disrupting mechanism into a more traditional space? What was that experience versus what the reception of the brand and product has grown into be post COVID now?
Yeah, we teased this company late 2017, and then had a little teaser at the PGA show, and our teaser was this head cover that was 175,000 stitches. This king, like a poker king wearing sunglasses and neon colors, and a dripping skull was one of the other products that we had there. And we really weren't telling anybody about the brand. We said, hey, new brand coming April 1, 2018. Don't be a fool. Show up and buy something cool from Swag Golf. And I think that from day one, we saw an instant, almost an uprising of the community of golfers who wanted something different. They were just kind of tired of what had been out there. And that's why I built Swag. It seemed like the most logical thing ever that age group of 20 to 35 at the time for myself as well wanted something loud or different. They didn't want their grandpa's golf clubs or their dad's golf style. They wanted something new and different.
Interesting. Let me go one more, Pet Cash, if you don't mind. And Nick, I'm curious the evolution of the model, right? So, we watched a huge shift into direct to consumer as, these brands continue to grow. When you guys, sort of brought this into market pre-COVID, did your go-to-market strategy change as the world shut down and the golf world opened, or how have you guys evolved sort of the business model with attracting new customers, and then looking at D2C versus big box where your brand might fit?
Yeah, when I launched the brand, the goal was to be direct to consumer 100%. That was really the plan. Make cool small batch products, deliver them direct to consumer. Always have basically the ability to connect with the customer. And that drop mentality is really what carried us right through COVID. We've really never left that. We've actually expanded. We've kind of gone backwards. We've expanded now into big box, just because I need accessibility for the putters and the head covers for people. There's a lot of people that just can't wait online and click refresh on their computer all day to get a drop, right? So trying to get our name out there through more traditional big box stores.
And then Nick, you did a NFT drop, or I'm not sure if it's still on live. Just curious the thought process and where that's at, and if you're still running with it, because obviously I feel like it's starting to swing back a little bit toward that since, what was it? I don't know, 2021 was the big craze.
Yeah. Unfortunately, our NFT project probably took longer than we had wanted it to. So we kind of came into the back end of NFTs being hot. The idea behind it on day one was to basically give somebody a gated token to be able to get our products. We wanted loyal collectors, loyal buyers to have a way to verify themselves on our website, and actually built an app in order to do that very thing, to give our most loyal, best customers kind of a head start into being able to get our product. Didn't have to kind of do the rat race with everybody else to get specialty head cover or putter. At this point, we've built this app and we're kind of trying to evolve it into what we really wanted to be on day one. Turns out that we're not a technology company, and we're learning the hard way how long and how expensive it is to do this stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's still active. It's a cool shopping experience for our customers, and I think that it's something that it's going to take a lot more time to work on.
Very cool. And then as you start to expand lines, you have anything else on the horizon? You went from head covers to putters to an NFT sort of in there. What's on the roadmap?
Yeah, we've dabbled in some other stuff over the years. We kind of dabbled in the pickleball space for a little bit. We tried skateboards. I think that, what tends to happen is that we see ourselves as a design company that just lives in the golf space. It's what I knew best when I started, but I see ourselves going outside of golf. I think baseball, tennis, similar sports are things that you'll see from Swag in the near future.
More on the equipment side, more on the cover accessory side, or
yeah, more like bags, baseball bags, tennis bags, duffel bags, potentially some apparel as well.
And would it be like Swag baseball or Swag tennis? Yeah. Just keep it under the Swag umbrella. Curious on your journey. Obviously, you started it, fundraising. Did you go through that process at all? Have you taken outside capital, insights, learnings there? Where's that at, and how have you approached it?
Yeah, no. So when it started, it was really just a small group, like 7 of us, that myself included, that put up the money to start Swag. All friends and family, real close friends and family. And we started with 4 guys in a little shop in Northbrook, north of Chicago. And I don't think I really ever had the intentions of taking Swag to the level I have. The 5-year plan looked drastically different from what our 5-year plan actually was, and we just had great success. And then a little over a year ago, we decided, hey, now's the opportunity for us to even go bigger than we probably ever expected. And that was our first time having to, bring in outside capital. And at the time, I think the saying is the best time to get money is when you don't need it. So it was a good time for us to get it. We were doing really well. We were growing the business, drastically year over year. From 4 guys, now we have almost 130 people nationwide. We've done a lot in the last 7 years.
Now, how did you approach scaling it? As obviously, okay, you're growing sales, you're growing revenue, expenses start to creep up alongside it. How have you approached the scaling aspect, adding personnel and team, and becoming more, where do you sit sort of also on in between design and management, and still running and leading the company, but having a say in where it all started with?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the growth side. I mean, I think that we've done a good job of kind of pushing and pulling ourselves from a manufacturing standpoint, and then a marketing design standpoint. Kind of grow one side of the team, and then when that side of the team outgrows the other side, go back and invest in the other side of the business. Fortunately for us, we have domestic manufacturing for 95% of what we do, which is awesome, and we're able to leverage our facility in Georgia, the embroidery facility. Our growth, we're vertically integrated in that point, so our growth is a little bit easier when you don't have to worry about anybody on the outside, messing up your plans. But it's been challenging at times for sure, and I think that every year it's like, okay, we think we have it figured out. Well, we either need to grow more, or we don't have enough machines or not enough people. It's ever changing.
Let me ask you this. I'm real quick, if you don't mind. Like, I'm always curious. Like, we're wide-eyed, bushy-tailed as we go into each year. Some are a little more gloomy than others. But like, what's been the one thing over the journey of building swag that like maybe was the most unexpected? As you guys have bobbed and weaved to this point, where as a founder, I'm always curious the insights there.
I think honestly, the most unexpected thing is the fact that I was going after what I thought was a very specific demographic when I started the brand, which was like this 20 to 35-year-old. And it turned out real quickly that everybody liked us, 15-year-olds to 75-year-olds. And that did change my mentality a little bit on what we were designing, what we were making. Because, if I'm doing pop culture references or things to, a certain age demographic, but I got 70-year-olds that also want to buy our product as well as 15-year-olds, I have to be a little more cognizant of some of the stuff that we're bringing out so that, it resonates with that right group. And I'm not saying we never make something for any one specific group. We obviously do, but the goal is to try to think of the broader market in general now, as opposed to just that small group that we were attacking when we started the business.
Isn't that interesting? That's so interesting to hear that, and I think that a lot of founders have this sort of vision, and then the market ultimately corrects or educates you on like how broad it really can be. And so, I think I'm most surprised by that, because you think about this narrow lane in golf, but reality is now everyone's rocking the swag. So it's really, it's cool to see, man.
Thank you.
From an international standpoint, Nick, how do you think about that? I mean, I know you mentioned most of your manufacturing is domestic, which is probably unique for a lot of people. You still sell a lot internationally. Golf's obviously a very much a global game. What's the breakdown, or how do you approach the different regions and areas, or do you not at all and you just tailor it towards, like you just said, just golfers in general?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when we started the business, the goal was to be selling everywhere. I had contacts in Japan, Korea, China, places that, other places that golf, Australia, right? And what happened was that COVID happened and demand in the US spiked, and we couldn't make enough product for the entire world. So we basically shut down everywhere else we were selling to and just focused on the US. Since COVID, we've changed that. We now have distributors overseas. We're launching swag in Korea again. And again, we'll roll that out to other countries as well. Basically, as we can make enough product is how we're rolling it out now.
Interesting. And as you guys go international, I'm always curious, like there's market shapers and there's market adopters. So as you guys, have a hardware component and a service to what you bring behind swag, like how do you guys shape the narrative of the golf world? Do you leverage celebrities, athletes? Is it more on the endemic side and using more PGA and pro guys? Like, how do you guys help shape that brand to tell the story of swag, both domestically and internationally?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of dipped our toes into all aspects of it, if I'm being honest. We have Paige Sporanic, who's one of our biggest ambassadors. Honestly, when I started the brand, I thought like there couldn't be a better ambassador for our company. Our brand is loud and bold. Paige is the OG golf girl, and she was a perfect addition to the team. Also, the most followers in golf, more than Tiger, more than Rory. It made sense to me that, especially for the demographic we were going for, that she would be a great ambassador. But then as we got into signing PGA Tour players, LPGA Tour players, other ambassadors, John Lester from the Cubs. We've worked with Eric Costa in the past. It's one of these things where I think as we're looking to get into adjacent parts of the golf space, it's fun to find people that line up with what we're doing. So, baseball players, because we're making baseball products through MLB, right? Or, if it's trying to get after the skaters, the skate decks, like that was why Costin was a great addition. And I think that's kind of how we look at it going forward too. Like, where do we want to be in the future, and how do we find somebody that fits that niche market that we want to dip our toes into next?
Nick, I'm interested on your thoughts on golf as a whole from the business line. I know we focus very much on swag, but being in the space, you see a lot of different things from a lot of different angles. what are you keeping a close eye on? What are some trends or emerging areas that like other people should be keeping their eye on this in terms of golf as a business or golf as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, when I started Swag, it was one of those things where at the time our colors were like black and neon, right? That was the Swag brand. 2018, nobody was really doing it. It wasn't hip and cool again. But I saw that as kind of the new trend that was coming back. And if anybody's been paying attention, there's a lot of people doing black and neon now again. And what's old is new again in almost everything, right? So for me, it's always kind of like checking out what I think is going to be that next vintage cool look that's going to be coming back. I think that everything's cyclical, and as I look at the golf space, I think we're seeing that change now with obviously with clothing. Like look at there's streetwear, then I think there's streetwear, there's Malbon, there's Eastside Golf, right? There's Swag, there's G4. We have all these companies that are kind of competing for the same amount of customers, right? But they're all wearing very different styles, right? And I think as golf goes forward, we're going to see that divergence of, again, like everybody kind of finding their part of the golf world. I think it's not going to be that same stale one look country club style that everybody was used to.
Do you tailor toward just on-course golfers, or you have a strategy for the Top Golf or the Enter Par 3 or a lot of those areas that continue to grow? And I mean, obviously on our side, we see a ton of new Par 3 concepts and all these interesting things. Do you even segment through that? Like, I think golf has many sub segments now. It's not just like what it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's the equipment side of what we do, but we've been sponsoring these Swag Series events this last couple of years to get golfers together, both high-end collectors, the guys that are crazy, have hundreds of our head covers and putters, to somebody that maybe just wants to dip their toe in and get the first Swag head cover. Just kind of introducing them to who our brand is, what we do, what we represent, and kind of just being part of the community. I think that golfer community, right? If we're just a brand that's selling something online and we never meet with anybody, I think that you just get, it's a different vibe, right? I want to know our customers, and I think that's a good starting point for someone who wants to try a new company that maybe they haven't heard of before.
Any insights for so I got this, then one more, and then I'm good on my side, Scott. But for anyone trying to start in more, we'll call it a hardware or equipment type business, any learnings or insights that you've taken along the 7-year journey?
Yeah, it takes a lot longer than you think. I mean, I had a lot of experience in the space, and I wanted to manufacture a putter from start to finish on a CNC machine. That was my goal when I started Swag as a putter company. And I was like, I think I can design this with a buddy of mine who's an engineer. I think the two of us will knock this thing out in like 2 months. 9 months later, we had our first putter exactly the way I wanted it. You just run into things along the way. And when you're manufacturing hard goods, it's tough. You have to be prepared for anything. And we were prepared for a lot, but a lot of stuff snuck up on us. And, I'm happy to say it doesn't take us 9 months anymore to design a putter, but it was how we started the business. And I think that's, it's important to know everything's going to take a lot longer than you expect it to.
Makes sense. Scott, I don't know if you have anything. Otherwise, just...
Yeah, I got one real quick, Nick. I'm curious, the game of golf is evolving pretty quickly, and we watched the Creator Classic come, and so this is more personal, and maybe it'll go into business. But I'm curious, being a disruptor in the space, are you a fan of all these emerging leagues? P3PL, the People's League, the Creator Classic. We're watching all these different iterations, grass clippings. It's they're coming from everywhere. So, as a from a marketing side, how do you think about where to place your dollars and which ones to get behind? And then personally, are you into any of them, or did you watch the Creator Classic? I'm just sort of curious your take on it.
Yeah, I watched the Creator Classic. I've definitely dabbled into many of the YouTube golf channels and checking out what else is out there. I think that golf's in an interesting space now where everybody's catering to somebody. I mean, there's so many people that have huge followings on there, and not everybody just wants to sit and watch some golf instruction for 30 minutes. I think they're just golf obsessed people who want more golf content. At some point, will there be too much of it? Likely. Not sure we're there yet, but we may be getting close.
Sure.
But I think it's good for golf. It's something that if you're 8 years old or 80 years old, there's kind of something out there for you to watch.
No, I totally agree. And then I got my last question, Nick. Are you a stick? What's your handicap? How often do you play? Because most people that get into golf is because it's a passion, but then you build a business and you never end up playing in it. So curious, have you been able to strike that balance yet?
Yeah, I found the balance. I'm not really sure how because I hate practicing and I never practice, but I'll tee it up about 35 times a year, and somehow I maintain a scratch handicap.
Oh
It
boy.
definitely bothers my buddies who practice every day.
I was gonna say that's swag golf in a nutshell right there. You know,
Yeah,
show up with no practice and still scratch, man. That's awesome, and big kudos to everything that you've done in the space. And I think the exciting thing is we're just feels like we're at the tip of the iceberg of where the game is going, both domestically and international. So. Big time congratulations. If folks want to get, learn more about swag, obviously you guys just came out with your new putter. Now's your shameless plug time. So go ahead and let everyone know where to go.
yeah. Our 2024 line of putters just launched a couple weeks ago. Got a new, really cool face on it called the Drip Face. You guys should check it out. It helps reduce side spin on putting, and I think you guys will think they're pretty unique and different than what else you find out there.
The judge of that, man. You might have to send us one after the show.
Happy to do so.
Is website swaggolf.com, Nick, or what's the URL?
Yep, swaggolf.com or swag.golf. Both will get you there.
And then socials at swag golf, or
Yep, at Swag Golf Co.
love it. Awesome. Well, Nick, appreciate you hopping on today. Yeah, super interesting, and everyone make sure you go check out covers and putters and all the cool stuff they got going.
Appreciate it, guys.
Beautiful.